साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथन्वितं तं सजीवं सद्वैतं सवधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते कुपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमां विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासारि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृत्यन्दस्तोयपत्राणि विदुनुति सुहृत्सताम् नस्तप्रायस्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भागवति उत्तमश्लोके Bhaktirbhavati Naishtiki. Before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Nara Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Śrīla Vyasadeva, the author. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. Loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna Prabhus. Okay, welcome to the reading session. Thank you for joining. Who wants to read first today?
Shall I?
Yes, Prabhu. But let's see
Yeah,
if there is
yes.
anyone, so they can read
Yes.
few pages
Yes,
before.
bro. Yes, bro. If I start reading, I will not be able to stop myself. Okay.
Yes, Prabhu, and it's better for the flow of
Yes,
the
fine.
reading.
Sure.
So if anyone wants to read, you can read now, or otherwise Prabhu from Prabhu.
Can I read to verses, bro?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. 25.
Okay, 1 second.
स वासुदेवानुचरं प्रशान्तं बृहस्पते प्राक्तनयं प्रदीतम् आलिङ्ग्य गाढं प्रणयेन भद्रं स्वनाम् अपृच्छद् भगवत्प्रजानां सा विदुरा Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, Anucharam, constant companion, Prashantam, very sober and gentle, Brahaspade, of Brihaspati, the learned spiritual master of the demigods, Prag, formerly, Tanayam, son or disciple, Pradidam, acknowledged, Alinkya, embracing, Gadam, very feelingly, Pranayena, in love, Badram, auspicious, Swanam, his own, Apruchat, asked, Bhagavad, of the personality of Godhead, Prajanam, family. Translation.
Hare
Then
Krishna, Praveen Prabhu, can you scroll for a little time because I am in the kitchen.
Okay. Then, due to his great love and feeling, Vidura embraced him, Uddhava, who was a constant companion of Lord Krishna and formerly a great student of Brihaspati. Vidura then asked him for news of the family of Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Purport. Vidura was older than Uddhava, like a father, and therefore, when the two met, Uddhava bowed down before Vidura, and Vidura embraced him because Uddhava was younger, like a son. Vidura's brother Pandu was Lord Krishna's uncle, and Uddhava was a cousin to Lord Krishna. According to social custom, therefore, Vidura was to be respected by Uddhava on the level of his father. Uddhava was a great scholar in logic, and he was known to be a son or disciple of Brihaspati, the greatly learned priest and spiritual master of the demigods. Vidura asked Uddhava about the welfare of his relatives, although he already knew that they were no longer in the world. This inquiry appears to be very queer, but Srila Jiva Goswami states that the news was shocking to Vidura, who therefore inquired again due to great curiosity. Thus his inquiry was psychological and not practical. Text 26. Kachit Puranau Purushau Swanabhya Patmanuvrityeha Kila Avatirnau Asata Urvya Kushalam Vidhaya Kridakshanau Kushalam Suragehe. Kachit, whether, Purano, the original, Purushau, personalities of Godhead, Krishna and Balarama, Swanabhya, Brahma, Padma Anuvrityeha, by the request of the one who is born from the lotus, Kila, certainly, Avatirno, incarnated, Asade, are, Urvya, in the world, Kushalam, well-being, Vidhaya, for doing so, Kridakshanau, the elevators of everyone's prosperity, Kusalam, all well, Shuragehe, in the house of Shurasena. Translation. Please tell me whether the original personalities of Godhead, who incarnated themselves at the request of Brahma, who is born out of the lotus flower from the Lord, and who have increased the prosperity of the world by elevating everyone, are doing well in the house of Shurasena. Purport. Lord Krishna and Balarama are not two different personalities of Godhead. God is one without a second, but he expands himself in many forms without their being separate from one another. They are all plenary expansions. The immediate expansion of Lord Krishna is Baladeva, and Brahma, born from the lotus flower from Garbhodakashai Vishnu, is an expansion of Baladeva. This indicates that Krishna and Baladeva are not subject to the regulations of the universe. On the contrary, the whole universe is under their subjugation. They appeared at the request of Brahma to liberate the burden of the world, and they relieved the world by many superhuman activities, so that everyone become happy and prosperous. Without the grace of the Lord, no one can become happy and prosperous, because the happiness of the family of devotees of the Lord depends on the happiness of the Lord. Vidura first of all inquired about the well-being of the Lord. Text 27. Kachit kurunam parama suhrinno bhama sa aste sugam anga shauri yo vai swasrinam pidravat dadadi varan vadanyo vara tarpanena. Kachit, whether, kurunam, of the kurus, parama, greatest, suhrid, well-wisher, na, our, bhama, brother-in-law, sa, he, aste, is, sugam, happy, anga, O Uddhava, shauri, Vasudeva, ya, one who, vai, certainly, swasrinam, of the sisters, Pitravat, like father, Dadadi, gives, Varan, everything desirable, Vadanyo, munificent, Vara, wife, Tarpanena, by pleasing. Translation. Please tell me whether the best friend of the Gurus, our brothers-in-law, Vasudeva, is doing well. He is very munificent. He is like a father to his sister, and he is always pleasing to his wives. Purport. Lord Krishna's father, Vasudeva, had 16 wives, and one of them, named Pauravi or Rohini, the mother of Baladeva, was the sister of Vidura. Vasudeva, therefore, is the husband of Vidura's sister, and thus they were brother-in-law. Vasudeva's sister Kundi was the wife of Pandu, Vidura's elder brother, and in that sense also Vasudeva was brother-in-law to Vidura. Kundi was younger than Vasudeva, and it was the duty of the elder brother to treat younger sisters as daughters. Whenever anything was needed by Kundi, it was munificently delivered by Vasudeva, due to his great love for his younger sister. Vasudeva never dissatisfied his wives, and at the same time, he supplied the objects desired by his sister. He had special attention for Kundi, because she became a widow at an early age. While inquiring about Vasudeva's welfare, Vidura remembered all about him and the family relationship. Text 28. Kachit Varuttadibhadir Yadunam Pradyumna Aste Sugamanga Vira Yam Rukmini Bhagavado Abhilebhe आराध्य विप्रां स्मरम् आदिसर्गे कच्चित् वेदर वरूदा military Adipati commander-in-chief Yadunam of the Yadus Pradyumna the son of Krishna named Pradyumna Aste is Sugam happy Anga O Vidura Veera the great warrior Yam whom Rukmini the wife of Krishna named Rukmini Bhagavata from the personality of Godhead Abhilebe got as a prize Aradhya pleasing Vipran Brahmanas Smaram Cupid Kamadeva Adi Sarge in his previous life. Translation. O Uddhava, please tell me how is Pradyumna, the commander-in-chief of the Yadus, who was Cupid in a former life. Rukmini bore him as her son from Lord Krishna by the grace of Brahmanas whom she pleased. Purport. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, Smara, Cupid or Kamadeva is one of the eternal associates of Lord Krishna. Jiva Goswami has explained this very elaborately in his treatise Krishna Sandarbha. Text 29. Kachit Sugam Satvada Vrishni Boja Dasharha Kanam Adipa Sa Aste Yam Abhyasinachat Chadapatra Netro Nirbasanasham Parihritya Durat Kachit whether Sugam or well Satvada the Satvada race Vrishni the Vrishni dynasty Boja the Boja dynasty Dasharha Kanam the Dasharha race Adhipa King Ugrasena Sa he Aste do exist Yam whom Abhyasinchat installed Shadapatra Netra Lord Sri Krishna Nirvasana Asham hope of the royal throne Parihritya giving up Durat at a distant place. Translation. O my friend, tell me whether Ugrasena, the king of the Satvadas, Vrishnis, Bojas and Dasharhas is now doing well. He went far away from his kingdom, leaving aside all hopes of his royal throne, but Lord Krishna again reinstalled them. Text 30. Kachit Dhare Saumya Sudha Sadriksha Aste Grini Radinam Sadhu Samba Asida Yam Jambavadi Pradadhya Devam Guhyam Yo Ambigaya Dhrido Gray Kachit whether Dhare of the personality of Godhead Saumya O grave one Sudha son Sadriksha similar Aste farewell Agrani forward Radinam of the warriors Sadhu well behaved Samba Suda gave birth Yam whom Jambavati a queen of Lord Krishna's Vradadhya enriched by vows Devam the demigod Guham of the name Kartikeya Ya who Ambigaya unto the wife of Shiva Dhrita born Agre in the previous birth. Translation. O gentle one, does Samba fare well? He exactly resembled the son of the personality of Godhead. In a previous birth, he was born as Kartikeya in the womb of the wife of Lord Shiva, and now he has been born in the womb of Jambavati, the most enriched wife of Krishna. Purport. Lord Shiva is one of the three qualitative incarnations of personality of Godhead, is the plenary expansion of the Lord. Kartikeya, born of him, is on the level of Pradyumna, another son of Lord Krishna. When Lord Sri Krishna descends into the material world, all his plenary portions also appear with him to exhibit different functions of the Lord. But for the pastimes at Vrindavana, all functions are performed by the Lord's different plenary expansions. Vasudeva is a plenary expansion of Narayana. When the Lord appeared as Vasudeva before Devaki and Vasudeva, he appeared in his capacity as Narayana. Similarly, all the demigods of the heavenly kingdom appeared as associates of the Lord in the forms of Pradyumna, Samba, Uddhava, etc. It is learned here that Kamadeva appeared as Pradyumna, Kartikeya as Samba, and one of the Vasus as Uddhava. All of them served in their different capacities in order to enrich the pastimes of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Praveen Prabhu, you can read.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, who wants to read next?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada. Am I
Hare
audible?
Krishna, Dheeraj Prabhu, Dana Pram, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Second continue.
Yes, Prabhu.
Text 31. Shemam sakashid yudhana aste फाल्गुनालब्धधनुरहस्य लेभे न चा न जासा दोषजसेवयैव गतिं तदीया यतिभिर्दुरापान्. Synonyms: क्षेमम्, all good, सः हि, कश्चित्, whether, युयुधानः, सात्यकी, आस्ते, is there, यः, one who, Falung, Falugnath, from Arjun, Labdha, achieved, Dhanu Rahasya, one who understands the intricacies of military art, Lebhe, also achieved, Anjasa, summarily, Adhokshaja, transcendence, Se, Sevaya, by service, Eva, certainly, Gatim, destination, Tadiyam, transcendental, Yatibhi, by great renouncers, Durapam, very difficult to achieve. Translation: O Uddhava, does Yuyudhana fare well? He learned the intricacies of the military art from Arjuna and attained the transcendental destination, which is very difficult to reach even for great renouncers. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The destination of transcendence is to become the personal associate of the personality of Godhead, who is known as Adhokshaja, he who is beyond the reach of the senses. The renouncers of the world, the sannyasis, give up all worldly connections, namely family, wife, children, friends, home, wealth, everything to attain the transcendental bliss of Brahman happiness. But Adhokshaja, happiness is beyond Brahman happiness. The empiric philosophers enjoy a transcendental quality of bliss by philosophical speculation on the supreme truth. But beyond that pleasure, there is the personality of Godhead. Sorry. But beyond that pleasure, there is the pleasure which is enjoyed by Brahman in his eternal form of the personality of Godhead. Brahman bliss is enjoyed by living entities after liberation from material bondage. But Param Brahman, the personality of Godhead, enjoys eternally a bliss of his own potency, which is called the Alhadini potency. The empiric philosopher who studies Brahman by negation of the external features has not yet learned the quality of the Alhadini potency of Brahman. Out of many potencies of the omnipotent, there are three features of his internal potency, namely Samvat, Sandhini, and Hladini. And in spite of their strict adherence to the principles of Yama, Niyama, Asana, Dhyana, Dharana, and Pranayam, the great yogis and jnanis are unable to enter into the internal potency of the Lord. This internal potency is, however, easily realized by the devotees of the Lord by dint of devotional service. Yuyudhan achieved this stage of life just as he achieved expert knowledge in military science from Arjun. Thus, his life was successful to the fullest extent from both the material and spiritual angles of vision. That is the way of devotional service to the Lord. Text 32. Kaschid Buddha swast anamiva aste swapal kaputro bhagavat prapanna ya Krishna padang kitamarga pumsa achestata prema vibhinna dharya. Synonyms: Kaschit, whether, Buddhaya, very learned, Swasti, well, Anamivaha, faultless, Aste, to exist, Swapalka, Putra, the son of Swapalka, Akrura, Bhagavat, regarding the personality of Godhead, Prapanna, surrendered, Yah, one who, Krishna, the Lord, Pada Ankita, marked with footprints, Marga, path, Pa, Pamsusu, dust, Acheshtata, exhibited, Prema, Vibhinna, lost in transcendental love, Dhairya, mental equilibrium. Translation: Please tell me whether Akrura, the son of Swaphalka, is doing well. He is a faultless soul surrendered onto the personality of Godhead. He once lost his mental equilibrium due to his ecstasy of transcendental love and fell down on the dust of a road which was marked with the footprints of Lord Krishna. Purport: When Akrura came to Vrindavan in search of Krishna, he saw the footprints of the Lord on the dust of Nandagrama and at once fell on them in ecstasy of transcendental love. This ecstasy is possible for a devotee who is fully absorbed in incessant thoughts of Krishna. Such a pure devotee of the Lord is naturally faultless because he is always associated with the supremely pure personality of Godhead. Constant thought of the Lord is the antiseptic method for keeping oneself free from the infectious contamination of the material qualities. The pure devotee of the Lord is always in company with the Lord by thinking of him. Yet, in the particular context of time and place, the transcendental emotions take a different turn, and this breaks the mental equilibrium of the devotee. Lord Chaitanya was the typical example of the transcendental ecstasy, as we can understand from the life of this incarnation of God. Text 33, believe, yes. 34, I think. Okay. Okay, is it 33? Text 33. Kachit Shivam Devaka Bhojan Putrya Vishnu Prajaya iva deva mathur yavai swakarbhena daha- dadhara devam trai yatha yajna vitanamartham. Synonyms. Kaschit whether Shivam everything well. Devaka Bhoja Putraya of the daughter of King Devaka Bhoja. Vishnu Prajaya of she who gave birth to the personality of Godhead. Eva like that of Deva Mathu of the mother of the demigods. Aditi, yeah, one who. Why, indeed, Swagarbhena, by her own womb. Dadhara, conceived. Devam, the supreme Lord. Trayi, the Vedas. Yatha, as much as. Yagna Vitanam, spreading the sacrificial. Artham, purpose. Translation. As the Vedas are the reservoir of sacrifice purposes, so the daughter of King Devakabhoja conceived the supreme personality of Godhead in her womb, as did the mother of the demigods. Is she Devaki doing well? Purport. The Vedas are full of transcendental knowledge and spiritual values, and thus Devaki, the mother of Lord Krishna, conceived the Lord in her womb as the personified meaning of the Vedas. There is no difference between the Vedas and the Lord. The Vedas aim at understanding of the Lord, and the Lord is the Vedas personified. Devaki is compared to the meaningful Vedas and the Lord to their purposeful personified. Text 34. अपि स्विदास्ते भगवान् सुखं वो यसात्वतां कामदुघो निरुद्ध यमामनन्ति स्म हि शब्दयोनिं मनोमयं सत्त्वतुरीयतत्त्वम्. Synonyms. Api, as also. Swit, whether. Aste, does he. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Sukham, all happiness. Va, of you. Ya, one who. Satvatam, of the devotees. Kama, Dugha, source of all desires. Aniruddha, the plenary expansion. Aniruddha, yam, whom. Amananti, accept. Sma, from your. He, certainly. Shabdayonim, the cause of the Rigveda. Manha, Mayam, creator of the mind. Sattva, transcendental. Turiya, the fourth expansion. Tattvam, principle. Translation. May I inquire whether Aniruddha is doing well? He is the fulfiller of all the desires of the pure devotees and has been considered from here to be the cause of Rigved, the creator of the mind, and the fourth plenary expansion of Vishnu. Purport. Adi Chaturbhuja, the original expansion from Baladev, are Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. All of them are Vishnu Tattvas or non-different personality of Godhead. In the incarnation of Sri Rama, all these different expansion appeared for particular pastimes. Lord Rama is the original Vasudev and his brothers were Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Aniruddha is also the cause of Mahavishnu, from whose breathing the Rigveda appeared. All this is nicely explained in the Markandeya Puran. In the incarnation of Lord Krishna, Aniruddha appeared as the son of the Lord. Lord Krishna in Dwarka is the Vasudev expansion of the original group. The original Lord Krishna never leaves Golok Vrindavan. All the plenary expansions are one and the same Vishnu Tattvas, and there is no difference in their potency.
Is it a typo here? Because here Lord Rama is the original Vasudeva. Here the comparison is made between the incarnation of Lord Vishnu as Lord Rama and Lord Krishna. Here Lord Rama is nothing but Vasudeva in his previous life before Krishna. And what about his brothers? Here it is mentioned as Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, but it should have been, in my opinion, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna, maybe.
Yeah, so the Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna, they were nothing but Shankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha in
Right, but
dimensions.
but here the statement should have been in another way. Okay, his brothers were Lakshman, Bharata, Shatrughna, which were the who were the incarnations of Shankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. In fact, it was directly mentioned. Okay, the previous names were not mentioned here. Okay, anyhow, let us carry on.
Next 35. अपि स्विदन् अन्ये च निजतामदैवम् अनन्यविद्या समुनर्ता समनुव्रताये हृदि कसत्या मजचारुदेष्ण गदादय स्वस्ति चरन्ति सौम्य. Synonyms: api, as also, swit, whether, anye, others, cha, and nija atma, of one's own self, daivam, Shri Krishna, ananya, absolutely, vritya, faith, samun vritya, followers, ye, all those, vidika, satya atmaja, born of Satyabhama, charudeshna, gada, adaya, and others, swasti, all well, charanti, pastime, soumya, O sober one. Translation: O sober one, others such as Hridika, Charudeshna, the son of Satyabhama, and Gada, who accept Lord Krishna as the soul of the self and thus follow his path without deviation, are they well? Text 36. अपि स्वदोर्भ्यां विजयाच्युताभ्यां धर्मेण धर्म परिपातिसेतुं दुर्योधनताप्यतयत् सभायां साम्राज्यलक्ष्म्या विजयानुवृत्त्या. Synonyms: api, as also, swadorbhyam, own arms, Vijaya, Arjun, Achyutabhyam, along with Sri Krishna, Dharmena, on religious principles, Dharmaha, King Yudhishthir, Paripati, maintains, Setum, the respect of religion, Duryodhan, Atapyata, envied, Yat, whose, Sabhayam, royal assembly, Samrajya, imperial, Lakshmya, opulence, Vijaya Anuvritya, by the service of Arjuna. Translation: also let me inquire whether Maharaj Yudhishthir is now maintaining the kingdom according to religious principles and with respect for the path of religion. Formerly Duryodhan was burning with envy because Yudhishthir was being protected by the arms of Krishna, and Arjun as if they were his own arms. Purport: Maharaj Yudhishthir was the emblem of religion. When he was ruling his kingdom with the help of Lord Krishna and Arjuna, the opulence of his kingdom surpassed all imaginations of the opulence of the kingdom of heaven. His actual arms were Lord Krishna and Arjuna, and thus he surpassed everyone's opulence. Duryodhan, being envious of his opulence, planned so many schemes to put Yudhishthir into difficulty, and at last the battle of Kurukshetra was brought about. After the battle of Kurukshetra, Maharaj Yudhishthir was again able to rule his legitimate kingdom, and he reinstated the principles of honor and respect for religion. That is the beauty of a kingdom ruled by a pious king like Maharaj Yudhishthir. Prabhu, if someone else can continue, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna Lebhang Prabhu Tandar Pram Jai Shri Prabhupada. Oh, two Lebhang Prabhus. Haribo.
Prabhu, please accept humble obeisances of glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you for joining, Prabhu. Okay, who wants to read? Is it now Praveen Prabhu's turn, or will someone else read?
Okay, I will read, bro. No problem.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you.
Text 37. Kim va kritagne vyaghamatya bhimo hivad dirghatamam vimunchat yasyangri patam ranabhurna sehe margam gadayas charato vichitram. Synonyms: Kim, whether; Va, either; Krita, performed; Agneshu, unto the sinners; Aghnamati, angry; Amarshi, unconquerable; Bhimaha, Bhima, Ahivat, like the cobra; Dirgatamam, long cherished; Vyamuncha, has released; Yasya, whose; Angripatam, putting on the steps; Ranabhuh, the field of battle; Na, could not; Sehe, tolerate; Margam, the path; Gadayah, by the clubs; Charataha, playing; Vichitram, wonderful. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: Please tell me whether the unconquerable Bhima, who is like a cobra, has released his long cherished anger upon the sinners. The field of battle could not tolerate even the wonderful playing of his club when he stepped on the path. Purport: Vidura knew the strength of Bhima. Whenever Bhima was on the battlefield, his steps on the path and the wonderful playing of his club were unbearable for the enemy. Powerful Bhima did not take steps against the sons of Dhritarashtra for a long time. Vidura's inquiry was whether he had yet released his anger, which was like that of a suffering cobra. When a cobra releases its venom after long cherished anger, its victim cannot survive. Text 38. Kachid Yashodha Ratha Yuthapanam Gandhiva Dhanvoparatar Aste Alakshito Yachara Kota Gudho Maya Kirato Girisha Tutosha. Synonyms: Kachit, whether; Yashodha, famous; Ratha Yuthapanam, amongst the great chariot warriors; Gandiva, Dhanva, bow; Upareta Riha, one who has vanquished the enemies; Aste, doing well; Alakshitaha, without being identified; Yat, whose; Sarakota Gudaha, being covered by arrows; Maya Kirataha, false hunter; Girishaha, Lord Shiva; Tutosha was satisfied. Translation: Please tell me whether Arjuna, whose bow bears the name Gandiva and who is always famous amongst the chariot warriors for vanquishing his enemies, is doing well. He once satisfied Lord Shiva by covering him with the arrows when Shiva came as an unidentified false hunter. Purport: Lord Shiva tested Arjuna's strength by picking a quarrel with him over a hunted boar. he confronted Arjuna in the false dress of a hunter, and Arjuna covered him with the arrows until Lord Shiva was satisfied with Arjuna's fighting. He offered Arjuna the Pasupati weapon and blessed him. Here, Vidura inquired about the great warrior's well-being. Text 39. यमावुतस्तस्वित् तनयौ पृतायाः पार्थैर्वृतौ अक्षिणीव रेमात उद्धाय मृधे स्वरिक्तं परात् सुपर्णौ इव वज्रि वक्त्रात्. Synonyms: Yamau, twins, Nakula and Sahadeva, Utasvit, whether, Tanayav, sons, Prithayah, of Pritha, Parthai, by the sons of Pritha, Vritav, protected, Pakshma Bihi, by shields, Akshini, of the eyes, Iva, like Remate, playing carelessly, Uddhaya, snatching, Mridhe, in the fight, Swariktam, own property, Parat, from the enemy of Duryodhana, Suparnav, Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu, Iva, like Vajri Vaktrat, from the mouth of Indra. Translation: Are the twin brothers who are protected by their brothers doing well? Just as the eye is always protected by the eyelid, they are protected by the sons of Pritha, who snatched back their rightful kingdom from the hands of their enemy Duryodhana, just as Garuda snatched nectar from the mouth of Indra, the thunderbolt carrier. Purport: Indra, the king of heaven, carries a thunderbolt in his hand and is very strong. Yet Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu, was able to snatch nectar from his mouth. Similarly, Duryodhana was as strong as the king of heaven, and still the sons of Pritha, the Pandavas, were able to snatch away their kingdom from Duryodhana. Both Garuda and the Parthas are pet devotees of the Lord, and thus it was possible for them to face such strong enemies. Vidura's inquiry was about the youngest brothers of the Pandavas, namely Nakula and Sahadeva. These twin brothers were sons of Madri, the stepmother of the other Pandavas. But although they were stepbrothers, because Kunti took charge of them after the departure of Madri with her husband Maharaja Pandu, Nakula and Sahadeva were as good as the other three Pandavas, Yudhishthira, Bhima, and Arjuna. The five brothers are known in the world as regular brothers. The three elder Pandavas took charge of the younger brothers, just as the eyelid takes care of the eye. Vidura was anxious to know whether, after winning back their own kingdom from the hands of Duryodhana, the younger brothers were still living happily under the care of the elder brothers. Text 40. Aho pruthapi ध्रियते अर्भकार्ते राजर्षि वर्येण वीणापि तेन यस्त्वेक वीरो अधिरथो विजिज्ञे धनुर्द्वितीयः ककुभश्चतस्रः. Synonyms: Aho, O my lord, Pritha, Kunti, Api also, Dhiryate, bears her life, Arbhaka, Arthe, for the sake of fatherless children, Rajarshi, King Pandu, Varyena, the best, Vinapi, without him, Tena, him, Yaha, one who, two, but, Eka, alone, Viraha, the warrior, Aviratha, commander, Vijigye, could conquer, Dhanuhu, the bow, Dvitiyaha, the second, Kukubaha, directions, Chatasraha. 4. Translation: O my lord, is Pritha still living. She lived only for the sake of her fatherless children. Otherwise, it was impossible for her to live without King Pandu, who was the greatest commander and who alone conquered the four directions simply with the help of a second bow. Purport. A faithful wife cannot live without her lord, the husband, and therefore all widows used to voluntarily embrace the burning fire which consumed the dead husband. This system was very common in India because all the wives were chaste and faithful to their husbands. Later on, with the advent of the age of Kali, the wives gradually began to be less adherent to their husbands, and the voluntary embrace of the five by the widows became a thing of the past. Very recently, the system was abolished since the voluntary system had become a forcible social custom. When Maharaj Pandu died, both his wives, namely Kunti and Madri, were prepared to embrace the fire, but Madri requested Kunti to leave for the sake of the younger children, the five Pandavas. This was agreed upon by Kunti at the added request of Vyasadeva. In spite of her great bereavement, Kunti decided to live, not to enjoy life in the absence of her husband, but only to give protection to the children. This incident is referred to here by Vidura because he knew all the facts about his sister-in-law Kunti Devi. It is understood that Maharaj Pandu was a great warrior and that he alone, with the help of bow and arrow, could conquer the world's four directions. In the absence of such a husband, it was almost impossible for Kunti to live on even as a widow, but she had to do it for the sake of the five children. Text 41. सौम्यानुषो से चे तम अधः पतन्तं भ्रात्रे परेताय विधुद्रुहे यः निर् निर्यापितो येन सुहृद स्वपुर्या अहं स्वपुत्रान् समनुव्रतेन synonyms. Saumya, oh gentle one, Anushoche, just lamenting, tam, him, adah patantam, gliding down, Bhratre, on his brother's paretaya, death, Vidudruhe, revolted against Yaha, one who Niryapitaha, driven out, Yena, by whom Suhrit, well-wisher, Swapuryah, from his own house, Aham, myself, Swaputran, with his own sons, Samanuvratena, accepting the same line of action. Translation. O gentle one, I simply lament for him, Dhritarashtra, who rebelled against his brother after death. By him, I was driven out of my own house, although I am his sincere well-wisher. He did this by accepting the line of action adopted by his own sons. Purport. Vidura did not ask about the welfare of his elder brother because there was no chance of his well-being, only news of his gliding down to hell. Vidura was a sincere well-wisher for Dhritarashtra, and he had a thought about him in the corner of his heart. He lamented that Dhritarashtra could rebel against the sons of his dead brother Pandu, and that he could drive him, Vidura, out of his own house on the dictation of his crooked sons. In spite of these actions, Vidura never became an enemy of Dhritarashtra, but continued to be his well-wisher. And at the last stage of Dhritarashtra's life, it was he only who proved to be his real friend. Such is the behavior of a Vaishnava like Vidura. He desires all good, even for his enemies. Text 42. Soham harer martya vidambanena drusho pranam chalayato vidatuhum nanyopalakshayah pada padavim prasadach charami pashyan gata vismayotra. Synonyms. Sahaham, therefore I, Hareh, of the personality of Godhead, Martya, in this mortal world, Vidamba Banena, without being recognized, Drishaha, on sight, Ranam, of the people in general, Chalayataha, bewildering, Vidhatu, in order to do it, not, Anya, other, Upalashyaha, Upalakshyaha, seen by others, Padavim, glorious, Prasadat, by the grace of Charami, do travel, Pashyan, by seeing, Gata Vismayaha, without doubt, Atra, in this matter. Translation. I am not astonished at this, having traveled over the world without being seen by others. The activities of the personality of Godhead, which are like those of a man in this mortal world, are bewildering to others, but I know of his greatness by his grace, and thus I am happy in all respects. Purport. Although he was the brother of Dhritarashtra, Vidura was completely different. By the grace of Lord Krishna, he was not as foolish as his brother, and thus his brother's association could not influence him. Dhritarashtra and his materialistic sons wanted to falsely lord it over the world by dint of their own strength. The Lord encouraged them in this, and thus they became more and more bewildered. But Vidura wanted to achieve sincere devotional service of the Lord, and therefore became a soul absolutely surrendered to the absolute personality of Godhead. He could realize this in the progress of his pilgrim's journey, and thus he was freed from all doubts. He was not at all sorry to be bereft of his earth and home, because he now had experienced that dependence on the mercy of the Lord is a greater freedom than so-called freedom at home. A person should not be in the renounced order of life unless he is firmly convinced of being protected by the Lord. This stage of life is explained in the Bhagavad Gita as Abhyaham, Abhyaham Sattva Samasuddhi. Even living entity is Every living entity is factually completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord, but unless one is in the pure state of existence, he cannot be established in this position. This stage of dependence is called Sattva Samsuddhihi, or purification of one's existence. The result of such purification is exhibited in fearlessness. A devotee of the Lord, who is called Narayana Para, is never afraid of anything because he is always aware of the fact that the Lord protects him in all circumstances. With this conviction, Vidura traveled alone, and he was not seen or recognized by any friend or foe. Thus, he enjoyed freedom of life without obligation to the many duties of the world. When Lord Sri Krishna was personally present in the mortal world in his eternal blissful form of Shyamsundara, those who were not pure devotees of the Lord could not recognize him or know his glories. Avyajananti mam mudaha Manishim Tanum Ashritam. Bhagavad Gita 9:11. He is always bewildering to the non-devotees, but he is always seen by the devotees by dint of their pure devotional service to him. Text 43. Nunam Nrupanam 3. Madot Pathanam Mahim Muhus Chalayatam Chamubihi Vadhat Prapanarti जिहीर्षयशो अप्यु उपैक्षताग्नं भगवान् कुरूणां synonyms. Nunam, of course, Kripanam, of the kings, three, Mada Utpathanam, going astray out of false pride, Mahim, earth, Muhu, constantly, Chalayatam, agitating chamubhi by movement of soldiers. Yadhat, from the act of killing, prapanna surrendered. Arti jihir, jihirshaya, willing to reveal the distress of the sufferers. Ishaha, the Lord, Api, in spite of Upaikshata, waited. Agham, offenses. Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, Kurunam of the Kurus. Translation: despite his being the Lord and being always willing to relieve the distresses of sufferers, he, Krishna, refrained from killing the Kurus, although they committed all sorts of sins, and although he saw other kings constantly agitating the earth by their strong military movements carried out under the dictation of three kinds of false pride. Purport: as declared in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord appears in the mortal world to execute his much needed mission of killing the miscreants and giving protection to the suffering faithful. In spite of that mission, Lord Krishna tolerated the insult to Draupadi by the Kurus and the injustices per- perpetrated against the Pandavas as well as insults to himself. The question may be raised: why did he tolerate such injustices and insults in his presence? Why did he not chastise the Kurus immediately? When Draupadi was insulted in the assembly by the Kurus by their attempt to see her naked in the presence of all, the Lord protected Draupadi by supplying an unlimited length of clothing. But he did not chastise the insulting party immediately. This silence of the Lord did not mean, however, that he excused the offenses of the Kurus. There were many other kings on earth who had become very proud of the three kinds of positions: wealth, education, and followers. And they were constantly agitating the earth by movements of military strength. The Lord was just waiting to get them together on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and kill them all at once at one time, just to make a shortcut in his killing mission. Godless kings or heads of state, when puffed up by ad- advancement of material wealth, education, and increase of population, always make a show of military strength and give trouble to the innocent. When Lord Krishna was personally present, there were many such kings all over the world, and he thus arranged for the battle of Kurukshetra. In this manifestation of Vishwarupa, the Lord expressed his mission of killing as follows: I have willingly descended on the earth in my capacity of inexorable time in order to decrease the unwanted population. I shall finish all those who have assembled here except you, the Pandavas. This killing does not wait for you to take part in it. It is already arranged. All will be killed by me. If you want to become famous as the hero of the battlefield and thus enjoy the booty of war, then, oh, Sabyasachin, just become the immediate cause of this killing and thus take the credit. I have already killed all the great warriors: Bhishma, Drona, Jayadratha, Karna, and many other great generals. Do not worry. Fight the battle and be famous as a great hero. Bhagavad Gita 11:32 to 34. The Lord always wants to see his devotee as the hero of some episode which he himself performs. He wanted to see his devotee and friend Arjuna as the hero of the battle of Kurukshetra, and thus he waited for all the miscreants of the world to assemble. That and nothing else is the explanation of his waiting. Text 44. Ajasya जन्मोत्पथा नाशनाय कर्माणि अकर्तुर्ग्रहणाय पुंसां नन्यन्यथा को अर्- अर्- अर्हति देहयोगं परो गुणानाम् उत कर्म तंत्रम. Synonyms: Ajasya, of the unborn; Janma, appearance; Utpatha, Nashanaya, for the sake of annihilating the upstarts. Karmani, works. Akartuhu, of one who has nothing to do. Grahanaya, to take up. Pumsam, of all persons. Nanu anyatha, otherwise. Kaha, who. Arhati, may deserve. Deha yogam, contact of the body. Paraha, transcendental. Gunanam, of the three modes of nature. Uta, what to speak of. Karma tantram, the law of action and reaction. Translation: the appearance of the Lord is manifested for the annihilation of the upstarts. His activities are transcendental and are enacted for the understanding of all persons. Otherwise, since the Lord is transcendental to all material modes, what purpose could he serve by coming to earth? Purport: Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Ram Samhita 5.1. The form of the Lord is eternal, blissful, and all knowing. His so called birth is therefore an appearance only, like the birth of the sun on the horizon. His birth does not, like that of the living entities, take place under the influence of material nature and the bondage of the reactions of past deeds. His works and activities are independent pastimes and are not subject to the reactions of material nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spruha iti mam yo abhijananti karmabhirnasa badhyate. Bhagavad Gita 4:14. The law of karma enacted by the Supreme Lord for the living entities cannot be applicable to him, nor has the Lord any desire to improve himself by activities like those of ordinary living beings. Ordinary living beings work for the improvement of their conditional lives. But the Lord is already full of all opulence, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. Why should he desire improvement? No one can excel him in any opulence, and therefore the desire for improvement is absolutely useless for him. One should always discriminate between the activities of the Lord and those of ordinary living beings. Thus, one may come to the right conclusion regarding the Lord's transcendental position. One who can come to the conclusion of the Lord's transcendence can become a devotee of the Lord and can at once be free from all reactions of past deeds. It is said, Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. The Lord minimizes or nullifies the reactionary influence of the devotee's past deeds. Brahma Samhita 5:54. The activities of the Lord are to be accepted and relished by all living entities. His activities are to attract the ordinary man towards the Lord. The Lord always acts in favor of the devotees, and therefore ordinary men who are fruitive actors or seekers of salvation may be attracted to the Lord when he acts as protector of the devotees. The fruitive actors can attain their goals by devotional service, and the salvationists can also attain their goal in life by devotional service to the Lord. The devotees neither want the fruitive results of their work nor do they want any kind of salvation. They relish the glorious superhuman activities of the Lord, such as his lifting Govardhana hill, his killing the demon Potana in infancy, etc. His activities are enacted to attract all kinds of men, karmis, jnanis, and bhaktas. Because he is transcendental to all laws of karma, there is no possibility of his accepting a form of Maya as is forced on the ordinary living entities who are bound by the actions and reactions of their own deeds. The secondary purpose of his appearance is to annihilate the upstart asuras and to stop the nonsense of atheistic propaganda by less intelligent persons. By the Lord's causeless mercy, the asuras who are killed personally by the personality of Godhead get salvation. The meaningful appearance of the Lord is always distinct from ordinary birth. Even the pure devotees have no connection with the material body, and certainly the Lord, who appears as he is in his Sachidananda form, is not limited by a material form. Text 45. Tasya prapannakhila lokapanam अव्यस्थितानाम् अनुशासने स्वे अर्थाय जातस्य यदुष्वजस्य वार्तां सखे कीर्तय तीर्थ कीर्तेः synonyms tasya his prapanna surrendered akhila lokapanam all rulers of the entire universe avasthitanam situated in anushasane under the control of swe own self arthaya for the interest of jatasya of the born yadushu in the family of the yadus ajasya of the unborn vartam topics sakhe o my friend kirtaya please narrate tirtha kirtehe of the Lord, whose glories are chanted. Translation: O my friend, please chant the glories of the Lord, who is meant to be glorified in the places of pilgrimage. He is unborn, and yet he appears by his causeless mercy upon the surrendered rulers of all parts of the universe. Only for their interest did he appear in the family of his unalloyed devotees, the Yadus. Purport: there are innumerable rulers all over the universe in different varieties of planets. The sun god in the sun planet, the moon god in the moon planet, Indra in the heavenly planet, Vayu, Varuna, and those in the Brahmaloka planet were where Lord Brahma is living. All are obedient servants of the Lord. Whenever there is any trouble in the administration of the innumerable planets in different universes, the rulers pray for an appearance, and the Lord appears. The Bhagavatam has already confirmed this in the following verse. एते चांस कलाः पुंसः कृष्णस्तु भगवान् स्वयं इन्द्रारि व्याकुलं लोकं मृडयन्ति युगे युगे. Bhagavatam 1:328. In every millennium, whenever there is any trouble for the obedient rulers, the Lord appears. He also appears for the sake of his pure unalloyed devotees. The surrendered rulers and the pure devotees are always strictly under the control of the Lord, and they are never disobedient to the desires of the Lord. The Lord is therefore always attentive to them. The purpose of pilgrimage is to remember the Lord constantly, and therefore the Lord is known as Tirtha Kirti. The purpose of going to a place of pilgrimage is to get the chance to glorify the Lord. Even today, although times have changed, there are still pilgrimage sites in India. For example, in Mathura and Vrindavana, where we had a chance to stay, people are awake from early in the morning at 4 a.m. up until night time and are constantly engaged some way or other in chanting the holy glories of the Lord. The beauty of such a pilgrimage site is that automatically one remembers the holy glories of the Lord. His name, fame, quality, form, pastimes, and entourage are all identical to the Lord, and therefore chanting the glories of the Lord invokes the personal presence of the Lord. Anytime or anywhere, pure devotees meet and chant the glories of the Lord. The Lord is present without any doubt. It is said by the Lord Himself that He always stays where His pure devotees chant His glories. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, first chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Questions by Vidura. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai.
Yes, Prabhu, I think we can continue from this chapter 2 tomorrow.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Where we started from, I think it was 25. Very nice. So tomorrow, what happens? Remembrance of Lord Krishna. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagninirvapanam Shreyah kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamritasvadanam Sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
Namna makariva huda nija sarva shaktis tadrarpitanyamita smaranena kalaha eta trishitava kripan bhagavan mamapi durdaiva med visham hygiena nuragraha.
तृणादपि सुनिश्चयेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानतेन कीर्तनीया सदा हरि
न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवताद्भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि
Ainandanujakin karam patitamam vishame bhavam buddho kripaya tavapada pankaja stitadule satrasham vijintaya.
नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिरा पुलकेर्निजितं बभुक्कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति
युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्राविर्ष्यायितं शून्यायितं जगत् सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे
आश्लिष्यवापादरतां विनष्टु माम् अदर्शनां मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पतो मत्प्राणनादस्तु स एव नापरः
Glories to the Sri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant in the holy name of the Lord in an humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal savior, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the air of my body stand on and at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly in his embrace or makes me broken-hearted. By not being present before me, he is completely free to do anything or everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally.
Haribo, Shri Siksastakam ki jai.
Jai.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai.
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 Bahujanma Karayadi Shravana Kirtan Tabutana Paya Krishna Pade Premadan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many birds, he will not get the love of God. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The 10 offenses against the holy name are as follows. The first offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
Second offense, to consider the names of the demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu.
Third offense, to disobey the order of the spiritual master, consider him as an ordinary person.
Fourth offense, to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version.
Fifth offense is to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination.
Sixth offense, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord.
Seventh offense, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord.
Eighth offense, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda.
Ninth offense is to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
10th offense, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many structures on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone just like these are trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls.
Manchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
अनंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय,
Jai.
जय गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल।
Thank you so much for all you devotees for joining this reading session every day. It's really nice. Haribo.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Tomorrow we continue with